welcome everyone to Lean Bites. This is our first external Lean Bites of 2022. For those of you who are new to Lean Bites, we do 2 Lean Bites every month. They are 60 minutes long, and there's an external one the first Tuesday of the month at 11:45, and then an internal one the third Tuesday of the month, also at 11:45. So our next internal Lean Bites is going to be on February 15th with Drew, who's talking about building emotional awareness. And then our next external Lean Bites is going to be on March 1st with Tim talking about IT modernization. But today we've got Brandon talking to us about digital transformation. So I'll throw it over to Brandon now.
Sweet. How's everybody doing? Very exciting. Talk about digital transformation. So most of you know me, so you know that talking about anything in 16 minutes is going to be a challenge. But this particular topic, digital transformation, is definitely a challenge. There's so much going on here that this could be probably 10 different Lean Bites. In fact, this could be 10 hours of content. But we're going to try to go through this pretty fast at a pretty high level and just kind of talk about, why should a company consider a digital transformation, right? So without further ado, we'll get started. Maybe, there we go. So here's this quote we found randomly on the internet. And I think as all quotes, if you don't know the source, you just assume Albert Einstein, correct? So you can see here that in today's era of volatility, there's no other way but to reinvent. The only sustainable advantage you can have over others is agility. That's it, because nothing else is sustainable. Everything else you create, somebody will replicate. So basically, that's a really long-winded saying, a way of saying the world isn't static anymore, and people's tastes are changing, and technology is changing. So and with all the fast followers, the only thing you can really do is innovate and continue to grow and learn. So I thought Albert Einstein might have been wrong as an author of that quote. So I did a little research, and it turns out this sexy guy here, Jeff Bezos, actually is the one that quoted that. So Jeff Bezos is basically saying, hey, folks, here we go. This is this new world. You have to just continually innovate and continually create. Nothing else you can do to stay in business. So I think that's really the key. So if we look at why would we want to go digital first, right? We want to go digital first because of what Jeff said, digital first, or digital is here forever. And so why is it here forever? Well, it's here forever because business moves faster than ever. It doesn't take much, especially with COVID. You saw how quickly companies had to change their business models as a result of what was happening in the world, right? New companies are popping up. Entrepreneurship and startups is like at an all-time high. So business and innovation continues to accelerate. Customers are more demanding than ever. Okay, so if we think about, remember when Amazon Prime came out? It wasn't really that long ago. Amazon Prime came out and we thought 2-day shipping was the bomb, right? Now customers are demanding that their products are being delivered same day they order it, right? If you've ordered anything online for in-store pickup and you find out that you have to wait 6 hours for them to pick it so you can go pick it up, you probably get irritated because, the reason you want to order it and pick it up is so you can expedite it and get it quickly, right? Without having to fumble around through the store looking for it. So your expectations are increasing, becoming more demanding. There's also more information available than ever. Systems are generating information at a rapid pace. Look at cars and tractors and all these things. IoT is starting to take over. Your refrigerator is connected to the internet. Nest thermostats, there's just more information available to us than ever before. Customers are using your mobile app in order to access your services, which is a source of information, right? Additional information like location, things like that we never had access to before. And then finally, employees have more options than ever. You know, everybody here has heard of the Great Resignation, right? And people are really being more and more, have more and more options about where they choose to work. They have more choice. Do they want to work remote? Do they want to work on site with a team? You know, there's just a ton of options there. So that means with the younger audience, younger generation starting to come in, they grew up on digital, right? They have options. We need to create a space where they can join in the fun and want to be there. So this is why digital is here forever. I don't see any of these things slowing down anytime soon. And when we look at these companies that are leading, that are at the S&P 500 and are winning the game, you know, these are digital first companies. We don't see legacy companies really at the, I use the term legacy loosely, but we see these digital first companies are, you know, Tesla is worth more than any other car manufacturer. And it's only like what, 12 years old, 13 years old, maybe it's up to 15, but I believe their Model S came out in 2012. So we can roughly say 10 years. So from that perspective, you know, Tesla is really kicking butt, right? Apple, Tesla's got a great experience. Apple's got a great experience. We could argue about Facebook. Google's really got that experience, right? You know, these companies are what's winning. And, you know, when I think about back in the industrial age, you know, labor efficiency, labor productivity was key, right? Because, you know, the more widgets you could pump out, if you were building a car and what you did with that car, you specialized people and you put people in specialized role, you could knock out multiple copies of that car faster. So you focused on efficiency, which created better outcomes for the organization because you pump out more widgets, right? Now, in the information age, in the digital age, you know, learning efficiency is really what's winning. Like you look at Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, all these folks, the amount of data that they have is enabling them to make informed business decisions and learn faster and outlearn the rest of their peers. So that's really why they're winning, is because they're able to leverage data and they have amazing customer experiences. But every company, they kind of have their own IT department, their own way of working, right? And, you know, one of the most common is traditional IT. This is what we might normally see as waterfall. Traditional IT isn't forever. So why is it not forever? Well, can't move fast because large batches and this focus on certainty limit the agility of these companies and limit their ability to make decisions and satisfy customers, right? There's a lot of, you know, focus on certainty means like, hey, we've got to get all the answers nailed down before we can make any decisions on anything. We ask a lot of what if questions and we try to knock out all uncertainty before we even get started. Then we build a large program that might take a year or two before we release it into the world. And then by that time, you know, a pandemic has hit and the entire business model gets turned upside down. Customers are more demanding than ever. Unfortunately, in a traditional world, we rely on these subject matter experts. Like I'm an expert on insurance, or I'm an expert on real estate, right? And we use those experts to try to decide what features we need to build and how we need to build them. But they don't necessarily understand the customer needs like they understand the business domain. These subject matter experts are really business domain experts, not experts on what our customers need and want. More information is available than ever. Well, that's true, but at the same time, because traditional IT departments tend to be organized around that old efficiency model where we put all the programmers together, we put all the accountants together, we put all of the customer support folks together, what ends up happening is all these different departments, there's a lot of communication issues and a lot of siloed knowledge that builds up within them. If you think about it, the accounting system, you know, who picks the accounting system? The accountants, right? Who picks the customer service platform? The customer service folks. Yeah, we have some input from IT, but generally speaking, the decision makers of those folks, that are using the system. Is there any thought about how do we correlate data and data interoperability between these systems? Not typically. These systems tend to be selected in silos. And that leaves a lot of data and a lot of insights distributed a bunch of people, between a bunch of people and a bunch of systems. Makes it really hard to use for making decisions. And then finally, employees have more options than ever. People want to be a part of something bigger. They don't want to just knock out projects every day and bang on a keyboard. You know, that's the secret in IT that nobody wants to admit, that people seem to think that engineers are excited about just writing code. And actually, engineers are excited when they get to see the value that their code provides to a customer, right? So pouring away on a 7-8 month project, banging stuff out, not seeing a customer get an opportunity to use anything you've done is a little bit demoralizing, to be honest with you. So then we got a little bit better, right? We said, hey, there's a better way. There's this idea of modern IT. And when I call modern IT, I really think of the whole agile DevOps movement, right? Like we said, hey, these long lead times are terrible. These functional silos are terrible. We need to really do something differently. Well, the problem is that's not forever either, because although business moves faster than ever, engineering culture allows us to move with more agility. We can build software faster with higher quality and deliver sooner and more reliably than we ever used to. But that tends to be within IT. So we deliver the features, and then maybe those features didn't necessarily deliver the outcome that we were looking for, right? Or didn't really move the needle for the business. We definitely were much better, but there's a disconnect because IT, the focus in Agile and DevOps is IT, not our organization. So it's great for optimizing our IT department, but it doesn't necessarily move the needle for our business. Next, customers are more demanding than ever. Here in agility, we tend to be, everybody's probably experienced this if you're working in an Agile environment. Agile tends to be output focused, and we tend to focus a lot on being a feature factory. When's the next feature going to come out? When's the next feature going to come out? When's this feature going to come out? Oh, a customer requested this feature, so when's it going to come out? When's it going to come out? So we tend to be focused a lot more on delivering outputs and features than we are on how do we make sure that our customers are achieving the outcomes they're looking for, right? Another example here is we tend to do more asking our customers what they want. I believe Jeff Patton kind of talks about that as the waiter model versus the doctor model. The waiter model is you take orders. The doctor model is, you talk about the symptoms and you figure out what's wrong and you solve the problem for them. Next, more information is available than ever. Well, again, because of all these separate solutions and intentional data collection, there happens to be a lot of data laying around. But is it the data that we need to answer the right questions, right? Are we collecting the data that we need to answer the questions that we are asking? A lot of times that doesn't happen in Agile. Again, feature factory, we might have some data in our databases, but we're not really adding additional data collection to tell us what we need to know about our customers. So it's not quite there yet. And then finally, team members now with Agile, a lot of times we get to pick our own stories to work on. We have a lot more autonomy as a team member. However, we're still stuck. We're still beholden to the velocity number, right? We're still beholden to my particular job role. I don't get a chance to use my creativity and innovate a lot because I'm busy working in the feature factory. So we made it a little better with modern IT, but it's still not there. So the next step is digital transformation. And I like to say digital transformation is forever. And it's forever because when we move from an engineering culture to a learning culture, we're never done learning, right? Engineering culture, we leverage feedback in our engineering culture. We might write a test and have a failed test, and we use that feedback to tell us what the next test is. We might do a customer demo and get some feedback, but we're not really not learning. We haven't really transitioned to a learning culture. We're kind of more in that experimentation. Let's just try something and then adapt, inspect and adapt culture versus how do we learn and continue to learn and make better decisions versus just responding to whatever happens. Customers are more demanding and their tastes are always changing. So creating a product-led organization ensures that you consider every interaction with the customer. When we talk about the agile approach and that feature factory, you know, we really tend to be very microscopic. Like, let's say there's a team building an insurance product that allows a customer to enter in all of their liabilities, right? Well, we tend to be really focused on that. We're not thinking about, in the agile world, we're not thinking about, well, there's a bigger picture to this customer's journey, right? And that journey changes over time based on, you know, their experience with your organization, their needs as an individual, those kinds of things. So we really, instead of focusing on just building point products and point solutions, we really need to start looking at the entire journey of that customer, and that customer is always changing. Then more information is available than ever. When we start implementing intentional metrics and intentional data collection to answer specific questions that we need, that gives us a lot more insight into what our customers need. When we can start correlating data between our accounting system, our customer service CRM system, those kinds of things, now we can really get that big full picture of what our customers' needs are. Okay. Finally, employees have more options than ever. We just need to enable our teams to be creative and be who they want to be at work and give them a path. So that's why I think digital transformation is forever. I think it's kind of the end. I don't think we're going to have another what's next after digital transformation, because I think digital transformation is a continuum. It's just going to keep going forever. The technology will change, but this mindset of relentless focus on the customer is going to continue. So any questions on that? Am I done? Am I out of time? I think I'm out of time. But I'm going to go fast because that's just abstract enough to be totally meaningless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on and say, if you're in traditional IT right now, if you're working with a company that's in traditional IT world of silos, then the first thing you want to do is get them to IT modernization. Let's start implementing Agile and DevOps and get that engineering culture. That's going to be a great first step. Okay. If we're working with a company in the IT modernization space, maybe you're doing Agile already. What do you need to do to move into digital transformation? Well, first thing we want to do is we want to create a learning culture. Okay. Because learning cultures last forever. So we want you to emphasize and reward curiosity, because curiosity and humility are the cornerstones to learning. We want to share that learning frequently and publicly with the rest of the organization, because that's how you create behaviors, by reinforcing behaviors. So share that. You can create systems that track learning. So Eric Ries in Lean Startup talks about innovation accounting. Okay. So innovation accounting is a way to track learning and track your innovation projects. And then lean into uncertainty by leveraging the product playbook and making informed bets. So every feature is actually a bet. Everything you do is a bet. You think that by doing this, you're going to get some outcome. When you start thinking like that, you start thinking about how can I learn whether that outcome was achieved or not. Next thing, great customer experiences last forever. So create a product organization that emphasizes customer outcomes over outputs. Let's get rid of the feature factory. Customer experience is greater than user experience. So let's try to use technology to make technology disappear and create an amazing customer experience. The joke we talk about is there's only two industries that refer to their clients as users: IT and drugs. So let's start focusing on our customer experience. Your company is the product. So instead of organizing around functional silos like we have in the past, organize around product lines and customer journeys. Finally, use data to get insights about customers they don't even know. Don't just ask them what they want, right? Use the data to help gain insight and then go talk to them. Great data analytics practices last forever. Treat your data like it was your product. We wouldn't let sloppy code go out into the system and buggy products go out into the market. Don't let your data be sloppy either. Make sure that it's clean. Consolidate and correlate key data across systems. So don't just look at silos, and start capturing other data such as data exhaust for use in future analysis. Finally, employee experiences last forever. Create an inclusive environment where people want to come and work. Allow time for innovation projects. Too often we're forced in the feature factory and we don't get a chance to really use our creativity. There's a lot of smart people on our teams, so we need to let that creativity shine through. Create a space for growth. So unfortunately, a lot of times there's like a limit to what you can do if you stay in technology. You have to move into management. A lot of digital companies are starting to figure out, how do we create career paths, continue to reward technological growth. And then people want to add value, let them. Quite frankly, a lot of times we get stuck in our process and our roles. Let people do the things that they want to do to add value. Give them the space to add value. So digital transformation is forever. These are the 4 things you need to do to get started. There's a lot more behind that, obviously, but this is a lean bite, so we had to go fast and keep it pretty high level. And then there's Jeff again. So digital transformation is a continuous thing, and continue to focus on those 4 areas and you'll see some success. That's all I got.
Cool. Thanks, Brandon. We'll send out feedback forms after this. So be on the lookout for those feedback forms. And then just a reminder, again, we've got the next internal Lean Bites, February 15th, on building emotional awareness with Drew. And then the next external one, March 1st with Tim on IT modernization. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.